Okay people, welcome back to another Fwoosh review. Tonight I'm taking a look at the Bandai S.H. Figuarts Star Wars The Last Jedi Praetorian Guard, Rey and BB-4. Now two of these, and I'm going to give you one guess for which two I'm talking about. Two of these I feel like I've already reviewed twice, and I essentially have. It's just some cosmetic changes to it. But the Rey, that's the one I've been looking forward to. And after seeing the movie, which I still like, despite lots of people trying to talk me out of my opinion, it's really weird, but liking the movie made me even more excited about this Rey. So it's probably going to come down to just reviewing the one figure, and then the other two will be mostly just okay, this is as cool as the other two times I got them. But pulling the BB unit out of the way, talking about these two, it's standard Figuarts packaging for both of them. You can see everything, well, most everything that comes in the package. On the side, you get promotional shots of each character. On the back, even more pretty promotional shots showing all the accessories, some poses, some cool stuff. Down here, you have the unreadables. It probably says, hey, got you a third time, haha. And then on this one, it says something like, we swerved you with Jakku Rey. Here is Jedi Training Rey. On the other side, the usual Figuarts graphics. On the top for both, logos. On the bottom, more unreadables, probably some legalese. Your winning lottery numbers. So I'm going to get these both open and probably be more excited about this one. I can see into the future. Oops, forgot about the BB unit. It's just a black and white box. It doesn't show the actual color of BB-4. But opening it up, it's probably going to come disassembled like the other two BB units I've gotten. You get the body part with a dumbbell joint on top. You get the head, you get the stand, then you get the antenna. Just pop the head onto the ball joint, then the antenna plugs in right here, and it has this step on it, and that's where you want to push. You don't want to, push from the antenna. It's thin, it feels a little fragile. I wish I could line it up. Put it in place and then push on the foot of it to get it seated down in there. Because, well, I didn't even push that hard, and you can see kind of a bend to the antenna. And there we go, all out of the package. And not a lot of surprises here, like I said, with the two figures, but there's a lot to like about the third. Now going over what we already know, the Praetorian Guard, the sculpt is there, the arms look like the Michelin Man, but that's accurate to the movie, so I am completely good with it. The armor bits are shiny as compared to the cloth bits that are dull. It does go kind of traffic cone below the waist with the plastic robe pieces, but they look damn good. And then underneath, it's a pretty basic leg sculpt with some smooth black, a kneecap, and then an armor shin plate. But this gives us the third helmet option in the S.H. Figuarts line. We've already got that in the Black Series, and now we finish off the Figuarts line with Overbite. We already had Underbite, and we already had Rufus. Somebody else came up with a better name than I did, and I'm glad to have this one, even though it's just more the same. For BB-4, it's a nice sculpt. It's mostly what we saw with the last one. Was it 2BB2? Except this one's wearing a hat on top. He's got kind of a protective plate over the eye on the head. But other than that, it's the same sculpt, just different color here. And I feel like they could have went a little bit more dirty with it. It seems a little bit plain on the paint job. It just has some overspray on the seam lines, but I guess it works. In the movie you see him and he's just in an office setting, and so I don't see him as dirty like BB-8. So it works for this. And then finally getting to the newest and the most exciting of this release group, I guess, would be Rey. The wraps going up over her shoulders are nice and wrinkled. It looks like cloth, but it's actually plastic. The same for her arm wraps. It carries down to the same kind of thing below the waist with the drape coming down and then back up around, and the hanging cloth parts, the lower skirt, the legs, everything just looks fantastic as loose-fitting clothing without using any cloth goods. Even though I have nothing against cloth goods, it's just the look here is perfect. I especially love the texture to the undershirt dress thing. It's got a crosshatch pattern. It just stands out really nicely. And then get up to the head, and the hairline is again weird. I don't know what it is about Rey that's hard to get, but it seems like the dangling hairs kind of throw off your eye when you're looking at the hairline. But the face itself, it's definitely Rey. It may be a little bit wide. It's a little bit off, but I feel like, well, of course, as I do with all Figuarts figures, it captures the likeness a lot better than what we've seen. If there's not a lot to gripe about with the Praetorian, it's what we've come to expect. Like I've said, several times. This is the third time that we've gotten this body. But it is the first time I've noticed that there's almost a head under the plate of the helmet. We didn't get that with the other two. It looks like the bottom of a face covered in cloth. Is he wearing a ninja mask under there or something? I don't know why they put it on this one when they could have just left it out and increased the range of movement there while looking down. He would have been able to look all the way down. And then, like I've said, the sculpt gets in the way of the elbow bend while looking kind of weird with the cutout here. Was it Sea-Dog? In the comment section for the last Praetorian I reviewed, said they should have had some kind of slip-up piece right here for this armor plate, this ring. It would have slid up and out of the way, and he probably could have got some more elbow room, which is kind of what Hasbro did with theirs, so it's a great idea. The elbow just kind of breaks up the nice Batman shielding of the armor here. For BB-4, like the blue one, he's kind of top heavy, so if you get him to the side, he's going to tip over and not be able to stand straight. Stand straight? Stand straight. You can get a little tilt out of him, but it's eventually going to go over. And that's because this is just a hollow piece, nothing inside, nothing to weight it down a little bit. And then for Rey, the oddball thing that sticks out at me is the collarbone. It's actually the neck joint going into the body, but because it's flesh and flesh, it kind of sticks out as a line across there. But that's not super bothersome. What is bothersome, and it's only my own sense of symmetry, I guess, is that this shoulder sticks out further than this one, seemingly. That's the cup inside that's hiding the articulation. It kind of moves around with the arm. This one does the same thing. It's actually this wrap here and this wrap here. They are separate pieces, but they're glued down, and this one was glued closer to the neck than this one. You can see this one is out here from the neck. This one's right up on the neck. I haven't actually checked promotional shots. I don't know if it's supposed to be that way, if I need to peel this off and bring this out or bring this one in. But it works for, you know, the thrown-on clothing look. It's not like she's trying to be symmetrical when she's dressing. And maybe this one's just hanging lower. So I'm good with it. It's my own kind of little OCD thing sticking through there. And then my other thing is the dress part down here. It is split to get out of the way, but because of this hanging down hoop, it doesn't get out of the way as much on this side. It won't allow for full leg movement. It's kind of rubbery. It's split to get out of the way, but it doesn't work that way. So it does hinder leg movement down here. Now, just for the sake of not boring you to death, or boring myself actually going over this again, I went over the articulation back the first time I took a look at this figure. But real quick, you get a nice range of movement in the head and the torso. This has a cover plate that comes down and drops to hide the hole. And then the shoulders are pretty nice with this shoulder pad that kind of moves with the arm. You can bring it up, down, forward, back, and it always looks one piece coming down. Then you get below and you have full leg movement, but these rubber pieces kind of get in the way. For BB-4, you have that dumbbell joint. You can get around a little bit, and then there's swivel. And then for Rey, a dumbbell joint at the top of the neck and at the bottom of the neck, so you can get forward, really, really nice. Back, her hair kind of gets in the way, and we'll take a look at that when we get to the face plates. Nice tilt over to the side, and then of course swivel. There's a dumbbell joint coming out of the shoulder with a cap on it to hide the articulation, but you can get forward, you can get back, a little bit of up, a little bit of down. Swing out comes up past 90 and swivels around. There is rotation on the shoulder going down to the bicep. Single elbow, but you get this much range of movement. That's awesome. To get that much range, you have to have a fairly exposed joint though, so it smooths out where the arm wraps are above and below. It kind of looks odd, but had to be done. Figuarts joint at the wrist, swivel, hinge, swivel, so you can get side to side, or if you bring it around, you can get up and down with it. I don't know exactly what's going on in the torso. Well, there we go. I pull it apart. You have a big, long dumbbell joint there that's covered by the belt. So you get nice forward, nice back, side, side. The hips are a ball joint coming out, but it does have the drop down feature, which gives you a little bit more range of movement here and more height if you want to. But again, as we'll get to in a minute, you'll see that she's plenty tall. You can get it forward, back, out. There is rotation up in there. Single knee comes up to about right there. I accidentally pulled this off a minute ago, but you can see there's a ball joint coming out of the foot up into the ankle. It doesn't work like a dumbbell. It's attached down at the bottom, but you can get side to side. You can get back, you can get forward, and then there's a toe joint that goes all the way up. For accessories, the Praetorian comes with what the other Praetorians came with. It's kind of a sword thing. It's not sharp on the sides, it's just pointy. But we now know that that extends out to become this whip thing that also comes with this figure. Now, as you can see, it's bendy. You can straighten it out. You can flop it all around. But the handle is made out of harder plastic, so it's kind of attached there. It's kind of nifty the way they did it. And then he comes with his dedicated weapon, which is kind of a small staff with a blade on the end of it. And there's a nice sculpt to this. It has the wraps on the red parts. The silver is flat, and it looks great in hand. Speaking of hands, he comes with 2 fists. He comes with 2 open hands, and he comes with 2 grip hands. Now, they continue to make the Praetorians the best hands on any of the Figuarts figures. They're made of a soft, rubbery material. It's easy to put weapons in the hand, and it also makes it easy to change out the hands. They pop right off, and then they pop right back on all the hands because they're all made out of the same material. Now, the wrist does have an extending joint, so you've got to push really hard to get it on there, but once you do, to allow more hand movement, this pops out and then you can get around. BB-4, he comes with a hat. And then for Rey, she comes with several sets of hands. She comes with 2 fists. She comes with 2 open hands. She comes with 2 trigger finger hands. And she comes with 2 grip hands. And changing hers out, not as bad as Kylo Ren or Darth Maul. You know, the tough ones. But these are a little tight to get on. And another thing to remember, on most of these hands, except for the fist, the hole goes up into the thumb. So you can't just press straight on. You got to go at kind of an angle towards the thumb. Like I said, not nearly as bad as Kylo Ren last month. For other accessories, she comes with the backpack, knapsack type thing. It's a nice leather look to it. It's got a good sculpt. It has kind of a netting on the back of it. And then the strap with the buckles and other nice little sculpted gear. And to put that on, you take the head completely off. You raise up her arm. You slide it over, and then you pop the head back on. No problem whatsoever putting that on, and it looks great hanging on her back. She comes with her blaster, and I think this may be my favorite version of this blaster. It's nice and silver on the silver parts. The sculpt is nice and sharp. The handle is a kind of a glossy black, and then she actually has a trigger finger hole for the trigger finger. And that can go either in her hand or in the holster. The holster is nice and soft, so it's no problem getting that in there. It goes through the hole, and it stays in there pretty good. And then we get to the lightsabers. The lightsabers. She comes with a hilt without the blade. It's a nice sculpt. I love the silver here. It's almost too clean. You would think a lightsaber that's been through this much shit would be a little bit more dirty, but there it is. The black is nicely applied. There's a little bit of gold around the red button. Nice little effect there. And then she comes with the lightsaber with the blade. It's a great looking blue to it. It doesn't look that great against my blue background, but I couldn't find any other colors. And then for the hilt, it's the same kind of situation as the unlit hilt. But given that her grip hands are attached at the thumb to the fingers, in fact, it's kind of a tight grip, just barely enough to put the lightsaber in. Her hand's not going to go over the, I think that's the ignition button. It does come apart. So you can put that in her hand and then bring the other half and plug it together. That is a D shape. It'll only go one way, so you may have to twist it a little bit to get it to go together. That is not falling out of the hand. But if you want to put it in her other grip hand, it's kind of tough to get the hand over. There I go, pushing straight on. It's a very tight fit, and it tends to pop apart. So what I've been doing is putting it in the hand first and then attempting to put it together like so. But her grip is too tight to be holding any other lightsabers, if you get what I mean. And then finally is her alternate faceplate, and I like this. It's her angry or determined, just, you know, in the heat of battle or trying to, you know, move something with the Force or something. I like how different this is from the neutral head that's on it in the package. It's not just a slight eyebrow change and a wrinkled nose. It's her, you know, gritting her teeth. And to change that out is something we haven't, well, at least I don't remember. We may have, but I'm getting old. But you pop the face off at where it goes back to the ponytail. So when you pop the other one on, the seam is there, but it looks just like hair going back and being tied in the back. Now the extra head, because it wasn't on it in the package, it's a little bit rough to get on there. It's tight, but once you get it on, does stay nicely, and it looks great. For comparison, here is the Praetorian with the rest of the Figuarts Praetorians. No surprise here, same body, just different head all the way across. Then here it is with the Black Series figure being Figuarts and an armored character, it's going to run small. They all do, and it's the same here. BB-4, here he is with the other two releases that I have from Figuarts, the 2BB2 and the BB-8. Same size all the way across. Same simple paint apps too, between all three of them. And then here it is with the Mafex, the model kit, and the Black Series figure. They're all pretty much the same. The Mafex runs a little bit bigger, the Figuarts runs just slightly smaller, but if you wanted to group them all together, it fits. And then finally, here's Rey with the two Black Series versions. Surprisingly taller than the crate version from Toys R Us, and about the same size as the San Diego version, if not a little bit bigger. That's kind of weird to me. But here she is with the Figuarts Kylo Ren that we got last month. I like this. Kylo's head seems a little bit bigger than it should be. I don't know if that's the hair or if it's his actual cranium. Size-wise, I like these two better than the two Black Series figures together. And then just for the hell of it, here she is with the Black Series San Diego Luke. So at the end of the day, I'm super happy to have these. I was getting burned out on the Praetorians, just the same thing over and over, but after seeing the movie and see that they actually kick ass in the movie, they actually do something, I feel much better about getting as many as I did. I got the 3 Figuarts versions, and then I got 3 Black Series versions. And it wouldn't even hurt my feelings to have them all up on the shelf together. Yeah, there's a size difference between the two lines, but you put them in action poses and it's negligible. You can overlook it. The BB-4, I wasn't specifically looking for it in the movie, but I did see it along with 2BB2. Getting this, and again, seeing the movie, makes me kind of sad that I didn't get the BB-9E from the first set. But I didn't want the other two figures. I wasn't paying that much just for a BB unit. So being what BB hate, it's so funny, was in the movie, an actual Imperial droid with some personality, I'm hoping that some other company will give us him, especially Black Series figure. There's nothing wrong with the BB-8 from Black Series. I would be okay with a BB-9E from that. This makes a good background droid. I'm good with it and 2BB2 just standing in with the Resistance. And then there's Rey. Oh, Rey. I griped about her hip movement, but overall, I am super impressed with this figure. The likeness is there, the movement's there. She can kick some awesome lightsaber poses. She just has a presence on the shelf. And it also helps that this is probably my favorite costume for Rey out of the two movies. It's a little bit darker, but I think that's what draws my eye, is it's not bright. It's not, you know, the sand costume or the Resistance costume. This is her coming into her own. And the figure translates that perfectly. Yeah, I may do some tweaking with the wraps going over her shoulders, but if I never get around to it, it won't bug me too much. Even though I'm sitting here talking about it bugging me too much. So maybe I'm coming off the high of seeing the movie. That's why I'm so impressed with these. But they're also kick-ass action figures. They'll definitely look great in the display. I can't wait to get the Figuarts Luke in a couple of months. In what was probably my favorite costume. Well, I don't know. I'm happy to get the costume we're getting there, but I'd also like to see the other dark version of his suit. Oh, someday. So if you like the review, comment, like, subscribe. I'll catch you on the Fwoosh.